they say all men are created equal. Shot! Master! I'll pull out the Glock! Full of suffering, succotash, son!
One of your nuts is hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass!
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast with Lucy and Estelle, and this week we're back with another Dynamite review. So it is the fallout from Full Gear. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into this week's show, but first of all, thank you for doing the Full Gear review all on your own, Estelle. I thought you did an amazing job, and that was like a big task to take on solo. So thank you, and I'm sorry I couldn't make it because I really enjoyed Full Gear. But I think you did it justice, so thank you.
Yeah, and we had like a little message after you watched it, and you said that you agreed with me.
Yes.
And that, like, what I thought you were gonna like, you liked. So
yeah,
we're in synergy, man. You were loving that
yeah.
women's match. You were loving that the fallout of the main event. So
you know me too well.
Hell yeah.
You predicted perfectly, like exactly what I would have loved. Yeah, the women's match was my match of the night as well, and big pop for Willow, big pop for all the chaos at the end. I was screaming, I was laughing, I was shouting, I was like really into it. It was great.
I was screaming, I was shouting.
Literally. It was so entertaining. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, and yeah, this week on Dynamite was sort of all the fallout from that, and I loved how they kicked off the show with like the recap video package of it all. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, I liked the start. They did the Full Gear repackage, as you said, to November Rain, and then after they did a little hype package for the Continental Classic, because now we're going to tournament season. So while there was like some carry on from Full Gear, obviously we're still getting the Death Rider stuff, we're getting basically all the title scene stuff, but essentially for all the mid-carders and for the mid-card women, they're wrapped up in tournament stuff. So it was kind of like a reboot, and here's the introduction to this. If you didn't know what the Continental Classic is, here's the rules, here's the point system, here's the leagues. And I thought that was really, really nice, because it is quite a complicated, weird point system. It's not the usual way of doing things. I think if you're a new viewer, I think that's appreciative, and just from just a viewer in general, it's just nice to have it hyped up in it. So I enjoyed that presentation a lot.
Yeah, me too. It was nice, and it sort of felt like a fresh start almost. Because, like you said, we've still got stuff carrying on in the title picture from Full Gear, so we had that element. But like you said, this is all new, so yeah, it felt like we were kicking off a big thing with this. So yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, like for me, because obviously we talk about like our just quick overview of the show. I thought the show was like all right. I think it's always interesting to talk about how you feel about the show at the start versus how you feel about it at the end, because it's different, or sometimes it vindicates why you feel a certain way, because sometimes you come off really hot on a show, and then we go talk through it and you're like, actually it was just this one thing I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I think that's me.
Down on it. Yeah,
I think that's me this week. There's just a couple of things that I really liked, and it's made me feel like really positive about it, but definitely the first half of the show I don't know. We'll get into it obviously in more detail, but I was pretty bored, I think, in the first half.
Yeah, I think for me, I didn't have high expectations, because like I just don't have them anymore for the post Dynamite of the pay-per-view. I think Tony Khan is so good at booking go-home shows, and he's so good at getting the hype up, but he does it right to the wire, and he's great at putting on the pay-per-view. Even the naysayers will argue that AEW pay-per-view is just untouchable. But then after, he just doesn't quite know how to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
And it feels like what often happens is a lot of the big players, he gives them the week off. He's like, all right, lads and lasses, you had a great one. Week off on me. And it's like,
exactly.
like we can't do him right now. And I think also it's just a bit jarring, because this is not a complaint, but like I said, we're going from a lot of story-driven matches and feuds to now tournament and sport presentation, which I've no issue with. I really enjoy that, and we spoke at length to how much we love the tournament style of wrestling, how the wrestlers do that, and all the matchup stuff is really exciting, but it is just a bit like skirt, like You know what I mean? It's like,
Switching up
ooh,
real
like we're doing
fast.
this now. Yeah, switching up real fast. But also, I don't know whether like I have some biases because I'm kind of coming on with a bit of cold. I don't know if you can like hear it in my voice. I'm feeling a bit like run
No, you
down.
sound all good. You
That's
sound
good.
beautiful as usual.
Don't sound congested, but I feel like a bit run down, a bit burnt out, and like I put this on. And it's not that I hated it, but I didn't love it. I was just like I felt neutral about it. But then I
Yeah,
don't know if that's sometimes like if you go and you watch it and you're not in like the best mind, not in like I'm in a bad mindset, but do you know what I mean? It doesn't.
I totally know what you mean. No, it makes complete sense because I did a solo review a couple of weeks ago where I didn't really like the show, but then a lot of other people did like it. And on doing a bit of self-reflection, I was like, I think I was just really tired and I just couldn't be bothered watching it at
Yeah,
all. And I've had a long, pretty shitty day, and I put this on. Like first half, I was like, oh, this sucks. Then I ate my tea and I had a sugary drink. And suddenly, the second half, I was like, this is fucking class. I love it. So, yeah, I do think environmental
yeah,
factors do come into it.
yeah. Again, it's not. I didn't hate the show or anything like that, but
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it just. I don't know, but because my notes, I've only done about 3 pages of notes, which for me is not a lot.
hmm In that Hello
But
Kitty notebook.
in that, you know it, baby, always
It's Hello
trademark. We're
Kitty
running out of
ambassador.
pages though. Need to get a new one from Primark. But yeah, let's open up with it. So we're starting off with the Blue League, and we've got Shelton Benjamin versus Mark Briscoe. And another thing as well, not a complaint, but another thing as well, why it's I think my excitement for this will grow is because this is like the first week of the Continental Classic, and
Yeah.
so everything's just quite predictable.
Yeah.
Like you know who's winning and you know who's losing.
I
There's
was
not very
surprised by
many.
some of the results later on, actually.
Oh, actually, yeah, yeah. No, that was fucking weird. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
That were fucking weird, right? Shelton Benjamin versus Matt Briscoe. So MVP comes out and he cuts a promo. He's hyping up Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, and you know he's again putting over the significance of the hurt, not the hurt business, the hurt syndicate's business cards, and showed footage of the Bobby Lashley match against Swerve, and they want the titles for more power and money. They are the merchants of misery.
Yeah.
Damn, that bar
That,
went hard.
yeah. That was hard hitting. MVP's great. He, he makes it seem easy, like cutting promos and shit. Very good. He's a poet.
Yeah, he's a poet and he knows it. But the thing is, right, about all these other matches as well that I didn't like was I just felt like all of them were quite formulaic throughout the night, as in, like, it just the Shelton Benjamin in this, and it's not that I didn't like the match. It's just the more that I saw this, the more it got tedious. That generic formula of like the heel just working over the face from the start, and then there's a rest, and then the baby face would have like a second wind, but the heel would like overcome that.
Yeah.
It just got a bit like it was the same formula, and it's a good formula, baby. It's a good formula, but it's like I
I mean,
don't know. It
is
just
that
got a bit tedious.
not the formula of most wrestling matches?
It is, yeah, but I just feel like sometimes it's like switched up a bit, like it's hot out at the
Yeah.
gate, or there's, or you know, the other generic. That's generic Formula One. Generic Formula Two is the heel works over the baby face. The baby face in the second half overcomes the obstacles. I feel like those are like the two
Mm,
generic formulas. And again, I'm not dissing it. I'm not dissing it, but it just
that's just something you
I,
know.
those formulas paired with the fact that I knew who was going to win and who was going to lose.
Yeah.
It was just a bit. It was just a bit. But again, maybe maybe I'm just a cranky. I feel like a cranky JR boomer just shouting at the clouds. I don't know.
Well, I think you make an interesting point. It's not something I'd noticed, but now that you say it, I do see what you mean.
Yeah, I'll point out as we go along. So this is cool. I like Shelton Benjamin. He was confident and he was methodical. We had some cool spots like the suplex on the mat outside, into the barricade, the apron, the stairs. He's throwing him everywhere. And I love the start when Shelton Benjamin goes to strike Matt Briscoe and he just moves in time and gets a strike in. And it was so cool because even though Shelton Benjamin didn't lay the hit in, I winced and I was like, "Ooh, it was cool." I just like the way like you could see how how vicious and how scary of an opponent he would be, even though he didn't lay striking. I just thought that was subtle but cool, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, what I liked about this match to that point is like it wasn't just about Shelton Benjamin being the stronger guy, even though he obviously was, or like the bigger guy. He just outclassed Matt Briscoe. Like I think he had the psychological edge as well as everything else. So just in every sense, he was the better wrestler. But it wasn't like a squash match. So I think it worked well in that way.
Yeah. And I enjoyed as well the fact that we got to see these two together because
Yeah,
it's just a cool matchup. Like
yeah,
it's just a random ass matchup, and it's one of those of when are you going to see this other than a tournament?
yeah.
Because they're not
That's
running in the same circles, they're doing totally different things, and it just felt really cool. It felt like when you play in 2K and you just pair up two random wrestlers that you'd
yeah,
never usually get to see and get to. And I appreciated how even though it was predictable that Matt Briscoe was going to lose, and even though it was never believable that he was going to win, it was cool just to see him get to do all his little spots, his
yeah,
little topes, his froggy bone, like get to have his moments
yeah,
against Shelton, so you could actually see what a match against them two would look like to the
yeah,
fullest of its capacity, rather than just a squash match or
yeah,
rather than just Shelton just running one over him. So I liked that as well.
yeah. 100%. That's the beauty of tournaments, isn't it? I bet the wrestlers love it for that reason too. They get to face people who wouldn't normally
Yeah.
get the opportunity to face.
Someone made some graphics and it showed who's like gone against their opponent and their like win-loss record in the past, and a lot of these are like new matchups,
Wow,
which is
that's
really
so
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Um, but yeah, I still enjoyed it. It was still an
Mm.
enjoyable match, and it was probably I don't know, but I did really enjoy it. I'm not trying to say like the predictability thing or anything like that. Like it took it away from me. That was more just like an observation of like
Yeah,
the show in like its entirety, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't at this point like I wasn't taken out of it, if that makes sense. I
yeah,
actually did really enjoy this. I do just want to clarify that.
yeah. That's valid. I think, yeah, I enjoyed this one, but I wasn't like blown away. I was like, I can take it or
This is the
leave it.
start, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's the start of the tournament and it's
yeah,
the kickoff one, so yeah. Then we had Shivani with Monet and Camille, and Monet's just relishing in a victory, and she was going into Camille can't get anything right, and Camille goes, "Shut up," and then there's a small pop in the crowd, and she's like, "You can't fire me because I quit," and storms off. Now, you were right. They're broken up. I didn't think they would this early on,
yeah,
but they did because um short-sightedness, I guess. Because yeah,
mm,
this will probably get one match out of it. Winter is coming, and it'll give Monet something to do for the next few weeks. But what is the longevity of this move?
yeah. I think it's just a case of them being like, well, what else can we do?
I think
Um,
it just isn't working, is it? And I guess like
yeah,
as I've always said, if something isn't working, cut it quickly. Like I'm all for that, but I don't know. It still just feels really really weird,
rushed. Yeah,
rushed. And unless Camille can really get over in the match that she's going to have with Money, like I said, I just don't think she's amounted the amount of empathy or sympathy that this.
yeah,
Like, I just don't think it's been going on long enough. I think she should have been a lackey for a bit longer, and it's only become overtly like abusive, I guess, in recent weeks where
yeah,
she's had to get into the ring with her arm in a sling and she's been beaten up and maybe had second thoughts. I just don't think we hadn't hit like the climax point yet.
yeah,
It's just like, okay.
yeah. Same. I mean, you wanted it to get to the point where people were cheering for Camille and trying to get her to to change to turn so that it was sort of like, oh, she was encouraged by the fans or whatever. Yeah, I was surprised as well because I wrote down in my notes, Camille's looking pissed off, but I don't know if that's just her face. And then she hit her, and I was like, okay, yeah, she's pissed off. We're doing this now. Okay, fine. I wasn't expecting it. Because, like you said, yeah, there just needs a bit more time to get some sympathy for her. Because I just don't know, is she gonna get over? I don't. I don't know. I want her to, but I don't know.
And there's like at the minute quite a lot going on with the women's division for once. It's like the worst time they could have
Yeah.
done it. Like we've got Julia Hart coming back, we've got Willow and Marina Shafir have got a little thing going on. We've got Mina Shirakawa's come to America finally. They're feuding with Mariah. Tony Storm will probably follow after that. There's other people on the back burner. We've got Britt Baker, we've got Penelope Ford, who seems to be getting a shine, Queen Aminata, and I'm all for more women. I'm also very conscientious of the fact that Tony Khan dedicates about 20% of his show to women, so there isn't the space. And then, there could very well fucking be, if he wanted there to be, but you gotta be realistic and logical. There isn't the space. So to cram another thing in that's not hot, just don't know. Just don't know about that one, Chief.
Exactly. And that's not us at all not us saying that women don't deserve more time. We're just saying we know that that's what they're like. They're not going to give them more time. They're just going to probably stick with the 1 or 2 segments and just squeeze as much in that as they can without extending the time and without reducing some of the men's time, because that's just how it's been for so long, and that it shouldn't be like that, but it's most likely what it's going to be like.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say on that topic. We had a little video package wrap up of the Costco guys. But I just wrote this down because he did break his foot, so he's out for like 4-6 weeks, I think. But I just think it's of note that they've actually signed him on to do more.
Yeah.
Which is a choice.
Get the Rizzler out again.
Yeah, I mean, get him out, but it's a choice, isn't it?
Oh my God, I can tell that it's just something's not quite right when you react in this way to Big AJ.
Yeah,
that is so not like you.
No, it's not. I don't know. I'm just like, I feel like we've done it. I feel like we've done it.
It was a one-time thing, and
I don't know if it was a one-time thing, but I just feel like the proper juice in it, like all on social media and stuff, and like getting the most out of it. And I just feel like I don't know. I mean, it was such a high. The pre-show was such a high. Like, where do we go from there? Like, when you've hit the peak, when you've hit like Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Rocky Hogan levels of peak wrestling, where'd you go?
Yeah, I mean, it's the only time I've ever turned on the pre-show and on purpose to see a particular match. And I swear, like, AJ had said, oh, I signed a contract for one match and that was it.
Yeah, but I think it's been extended, like I said. It's not to a long one or anything, but just that they're going to do a few more things, so...
Well, I guess it must have been successful for them and they got some good results from it, so they just want to continue that, milk it as much as they can. From a marketing standpoint, I get it.
From a marketing standpoint.
It's all about the casuals. Did you see Taz's tweet about it?
No.
Taz was like, why is everyone complaining about, in amongst all the build up to Full Gear, people are complaining about this. It's all about the casuals, baby. That is literally what he said. I mean, not in those exact words, obviously. It's a condensed version, but...
Yeah, I think it was great having them on there, and I mean, even Full Gear capacity, it was a massive, and I don't know whether that was contributed to by them. I'm sure there must have been some kind of contribution, but it was like 10K that they pulled in the end ticket sales. So it's really decent for them. So yeah, I don't know. It's not. I think it's nice, and I hope that. I don't know, like they can continue. And like I said in my review, like, I think it's really sweet that
Yeah.
he's not just a viral guy. Like he has been on the indie scenes decades ago. Like, and it is nice. It's lovely to see someone get recognition all those years later. But I just it's not what's happened. It's just fear for what could happen.
Yeah, that is so fair because you just, yeah, something can be
People just
cool
like
and
TNA, like when they
yeah, you
fucking
just
go
take
when they
something
went
too
mad on
far.
Kurt Angle and they went mad on fucking Hulk Hogan.
Hmm.
That's what it's
Too much
giving
of
a
a good
bit. It's
thing.
just like
Well,
too much of a good thing.
I'm just
Can't have your
hoping that
cake and eat it too.
I'm just hoping that the Rizzler doesn't have a Hulk Hogan style like downfall, like he's hit the top. For Hulk Hogan, there was only one way, and it was down. I hope that's not going to happen to them.
Hopefully not. Moving on to something that's riveting. We got the learning tree. Which, you know what popped me when Justin Roberts announced this match has a 60-minute time limit. I was like, please, it's obviously not going to go 60 minutes. This was for the ROH title, and it was against Ishii. They'd set it up in that little comedic uh, contract signing, and yeah, they put on a really good match. To be fair, they were bloodied and bruised by the end of it. Jericho's matches recently have been decent. I think they've definitely taken a step up. However, the crowd wasn't with it still. Like, it didn't matter that it was a good match. It didn't matter that Jericho were bleeding from the mouth. Ishii fucked up. It just doesn't matter. And I think that's not only because of the presentation of Jericho in AEW, but just like Ishii's presentation. Like, they've really, again, too much of
Quite
a good thing.
goofy.
Like, they've really like diluted him down and kind of made him into a jobber. And I just think that means that while you can appreciate this match and enjoy it, I enjoyed the chop exchange. I loved, as always, the Spike DDT, the way Ishii sold it. I was like, that's going into my ASMR compilation. And like I say, it was heated. It was like a war, but it never translated. What they were trying to give didn't translate because
Yeah.
you've done as much as I enjoyed that segment, that hokey segment with signing the contract. You do that, and then you do this paired with all the other hokey bullshit surrounding it and surrounding these two characters, and then you try to present it as this bloody battle for a title that no one gives a fuck about. That you know she's gonna lose.
Yeah.
And then you have this like despondent, is that the word, like desolate look in your eyes after the match because like you looking around the crowd and you've got blood pouring out your mouth, and it's sad, dude. It's sad because I'm like, you did all that for nothing, for basically nothing.
Yeah. It's hard for Jericho, I think, and I don't have sympathy for him for
Yeah,
this,
because
but he's
nothing,
going
it can't. It's unsalvageable.
yeah,
Nothing
exactly.
he can do is going to salvage it other than going away.
Exactly.
Go away.
Precisely that. Like, go away for a long time and then come back and have a banger, and then maybe you've got a chance, you know? Yeah, I have to say this match didn't really land for me either. I was just, and I think just because of that, and I don't know, I guess I had that preconceived notion of it's Jericho match is going to suck. And it wasn't that bad, but I'm just not, all the just hitting each other and over again. I don't know, it just didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, and it's irritating because like you know on paper it's good, and like you said, I feel bad for him, but it's just everything's just beyond saving. I mean, the only exciting thing I think they could do is turn Bill face because they have actually built up sympathy and he's built up character, and do something with Bill. I think that would have a run, but again, that's him bowing out, and that would be part of it. Like, do a retirement match, bow out.
Oh, that would be
Just
great. A retirement
that would be
match
great.
against Big Bill, and he
And Big
leaves.
Bill
That'd be
goes over,
amazing.
and you could build it for a while. Have it be like, a couple of pay-per-views long. Like they have matches and matches and a series of matches, and it heats up, heats up, heats up. Make it epic,
Yeah.
and put over Bill, like, and then bow out for a bit, and it just. I just despair. It's the same shit every week. It's the same shit. And I'm sorry, if you're going to go for a 20-minute match against Ishii or however long this was and end that match with blood in your mouth and gone to war with him and no one cares. Like, at what point do you get the message that nothing you do matters and is good enough? Take the L, my brother. Take the L. Go on tour. Go on a bloody cruise. Like,
I
fuck
swear,
off.
for so long we've been saying it's okay because he's going on the Jericho cruise soon. When is he going on the Jericho cruise?
Oh man.
I just want to say as well, just on Big Bill, I just love him. How cute is he? Like he looks so happy during this. Like his little face, he was so happy just to be there. Yeah. And I also thought it was really funny how Brian Keith didn't even have a seat at the commentary desk. Like he was just stood up awkwardly behind them all. Like they couldn't just pull up a seat for the poor lad.
I liked his Bill's line of, if a tree it goes above the forest, if it's too tall, it gets blown away by the wind.
I love that metaphor. It's stunning.
Stunning. Stunning English lit student ass. But yeah, anyway, moving on. Yeah. Did he win with the Judas effect?
Yeah, so he hit it like earlier on in the match, and then Ishii kicked out at 1,
Yeah.
and then he did it again like 5 minutes later, and yeah, he won the match with it. And when he kicked out at 1, I was like, oh my God, there's hope. I was worked so hard.
Moving on, we had Swerve. Prince Nana being interviewed by Renee. She's asking how he's going to rebuild, but as he's kind of making comments, Max Caster walks behind him and talks about their last match, their history, and says it's just doing Max Caster. He's just saying it used to be a house fire. Swerve starts laying in on him, which was satisfying to watch him kick the shit out of him. But I suppose this confirms 100% that he is going to become affiliated with the Hurt Syndicate, and the Acclaimed are 100% breaking up. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. If there wasn't already from the pay-per-view watching this, it's like, oh, 1,000,000% this is where we're going. Which, yeah, I mean, how do you feel about that? Because, yeah, like, what do you think about the Acclaimed breakup? Because, like, similar to, like, the Costco guys, I'm like, I have worries and concerns about it. Like, I just do. So, like, what's your thoughts? What's your predictions with that?
Well, first of all, I didn't really like how it just totally overshadowed the tag team match at Full Gear. Like, it was just all focus on them two. And, I mean, yeah, I know you have to tell a story. But I don't know, I wasn't a fan of that. It just, I don't like Max Caster, and I just didn't like it.
Really?
No, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before on the podcast, but yeah, I dislike him. And then I just thought that all your concerns were valid that you were saying on your review. So, like, where are they going to land? Because there's not a lot there's no space high up the card, really. I'd love for Anthony Bowens to do something. Is he going to? I don't know. Max Caster, I don't give a fuck what he does. So yeah, I have worries and concerns about it. And I think what you said was right when you said, like, it's not a draw to see them two against each other, really. It will be low down the card, World's End, maybe. It'll be super low down that card, and I'm not thrilled by it. Oh, but then again, it's like they were going nowhere together, so it makes sense to split them up, but I don't see the vision at the moment, and I hated everything about this. Like, Jericho won, and then it was this. I was like, oh my God, I'm at the lowest of the low right now.
I think Max Caster as well has go away heat for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think pairing him with the Hurt Syndicate, who are quite cool heels, and I know you want to dislike heels, and I kind of do. Like, with the Hurt Syndicate, I'm like, oh, they're dicks, man. They were dicks to Swerve. Like, they just don't give a fuck. Like, I respect them, man. Like, they're elite, but if, like, you fuck them over, they're gonna fuck you over. Now that's harsh, bro. Like, what if you just want to stay in your own lane? Like, that's just like gang mentality. So, like, that's my vibe. But then Max Caster comes in. Oh no! It ruins the whole vibe, because his vibe is so fit. Like, Exactly. His aura is so like it's going to permeate the whole thing because they've all got their own similar vibe. They're all on the same page. They're all on the same wavelength. Then this knobhead's going to come strolling on past with his shite mustache. I can't. Oh, I can't. Like it's just
You know what would be funny if he like accepts the business card and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna join you guys, and they're like, okay, and he starts doing raps and they're sort of looking at him like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And then he ends up like annoying them that so much that they kick him out, and they're like, now we can't be going to give him these business cards out willy-nilly. Fuck this guy, and they just beat the shit out of him because he's an annoying little twat.
that would be a great. There you go. That's what you do with Max Caster, but
And you just bury him.
never to be heard of again. Marco
And
Stunt
also,
style.
This segment unlocked a new ick for me. When he was like goading for a reaction from the crowd, a cheap pop, by saying, "Here tonight in Chicago," but they didn't have the crowd sounds turned on. It was just silence. Oh,
Yeah.
disgusting.
Chills. Chills. But it's just, I feel like there's other things the Acclaim could have done to be refreshed. Like, they could have done a joint heel turn.
Yeah.
They could have done something with Daddy Ass, which we've been waiting for ages, like kicking him out. Because as much as he's added to the group, I think it's ran its course. Like, they could do something with him like that would generate. And if you are going to break them apart, why not have him? I know, like, the whole thing is like Billy Gunn's mediating, but why don't he actually go for him? I just don't. It feels like we've gone from 0 to 100 when we could have gone from like 0 to 50, tested the waters, seen how we felt, and then moved them apart. Like, I especially don't know. I feel like Bowens, because even though people are more rooting for him and people want him to do well, I feel like he'll have even less to do than Max Caster, honestly, which is disgraceful. But
yeah.
honestly, I hand on heart believe that. Like, I just don't understand where he's going to slot in because he hasn't been built up enough
Yeah.
to go
Yeah.
be a singles competitor. And why would you not try and like reinvent him or like do something more with them as a tag team when your tag team division's not great? And like you say with the whole overshadowing the tag match, I didn't even think about that. Like I did, but I didn't really like it was more a subconscious thing. But you're so right, like the whole point of that thing is to build up the tag division as legitimate, and you've got this new what's the word, like champions, and they're not very well established. They've kind of just won on a whim, it feels like, because their careers are on the line. And your main takeaway is the Acclaimed.
Yeah, exactly. Just Private Party being afterthoughts again. Being overshadowed by the Acclaimed again. It feels like this has always been the case. And Private Party are literally champs.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's not that like I'm anti breaking the Acclaimed up. It's just I just felt there's better ways to do it, and there's just concerns, bro. There's just concerns. I don't know. Matt Caster, maybe he'll join the Hurt Syndicate. Maybe he'll be amazing.
Yeah, you know, I'm open to be proven wrong, kind of ish, when it comes to Max Caster. I don't know. Have I got no? I don't know. I would like it to be good. You were saying this last week, like we want it to be good. We don't want to complain. We want it to be good, and we want to like it. I guess I'll wait and see.
Yeah, but this was good. Like watching him get beat up by Swerve, so
Yeah,
that was satisfying.
Positive, definitely.
So then we had Hangman with Siobhan. He tries to conduct an interview, but he instantly just snatches up that mic and he's just on 100. And I just think, how does he do that? Like, I don't know if this makes any sense because I probably sound fucked right now. I'm not making any sense. But how does he do? Like, he's such a so this is just acting. This is just wrestling. But he's such a sweet man. Like, he's so chill. Right. I don't understand how he goes from like 0 to like. Does he not get exhausted by his own character? Like, how does he do it week in, week out? That level of aggression. I don't get it.
And that's an underrated skill of wrestling, I think. I mean, I know, obviously, people know that it's gimmicks and characters and stuff, but acting, underrated skill.
He's a really, really good actor. Really good. And, like, not in just his voice control and the way he can conduct a promo, but in matches, his facial expressions and the way he sells things and the subtleties and the nuances. And even going back to when he was faced and he had the whole alcohol thing and the whole, like, the passive aggressiveness between him and the Bucks and the way he sold that. He's one of the best actors in AEW for sure. He said that he had no regrets to striking down Christopher Daniels, and he'll beat him, do it again, he'll slap him down. It's like, do you know that meme? Oh, I can't remember whether it's Coronation Street or I think it's EastEnders.
I know what you're about.
And he's like, you need slapping down.
Yeah, with his screwdriver in his hand.
His little screwdriver. Yeah, that's what it made me think of. But then he called out Christian for not keeping up his end of the bargain. So, like I said,
yeah, I like that.
Very frail alliances. His intention has always been to become world champion again, and he doesn't care. He's just like running through them all. Mox, Jay White, Swerve, all these people. Like, it's man. Jay White comes out, which I popped hard, and he said he's lost to him twice, so it'll actually be him going for the title. But he's next in. He's definitely above line in front of him in line. Like, he's definitely a priority before Hangman. Like, you know what are you on about? Like, but then Pac attacked Jay from behind, and then Yuta came in and struck Hangman. That later it was confirmed that him and Yuta are going to have a match on Collision. Jay White comes in, but is hit by a lariat, and then Maria hits Hangman with the briefcase. Jay White's about to Blade Runner her, which was just crazy, but then Mox attacked from behind, and Jay White was put in a sleeper hold by Marina Shafir, then was beat down by all of them. Then they brought in the suitcase or whatever, freaking suitcase. I sound like I've got dementia. The briefcase. I was like laughing, but I was just, this is ridiculous. Like, why is Jay White getting the ultimate beating right now? Also,
right.
why is he foaming at the mouth again? I just like, what is it was so ridiculously disproportionate. I just feel like he was just like caught in the crossfires. Yeah, no overreaction. Thank you. And he's just like on the ground. But I wanted to say this one point out as well. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel. This is not positive or negative. I don't know how I feel about him getting choked out by Marina Shafir. I just don't know how I feel about that. Like, intergender things we don't really see on AEW. So again, I was like, whoa, when he was about to put her in a Blade Runner. And then I was like, whoa, when she actually made him pass out in a sleeper hold. And I just don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I like it.
She's done it to other men, hasn't she? Like,
yeah, but I just don't know how I feel about it. Do you know what I mean?
Is it just because like you wish you were the one doing that to him instead of her? Like, it's just because it's Jay White.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't know.
I thought it was really cool the way she like looked into the camera when she did it.
Yeah, she looked really
badass.
cool. And then also when after the Blade Runner and Mox, like I said, he came up from behind, then she did the strikes and stuff. But I just don't know, because that in combination with everything else that happened.
Yeah.
If it had just been like the sleeper hold, like one strike, maybe I feel differently. But I think it's because so much happened to him. It really undermined him, and it just made him look like such a chump. And I know it's like he was always going to get overpowered because like the numbers game. Yeah. And again, I just don't know how I feel about the whole intergender stuff, because I'm like, I want to see Marina Shafir fight women. I want to see her fight Willow. Like, I don't...
Yeah, where was Willow in this? Where was she?
Orange Cassidy She don't give a fuck about Jay White. She's like, Orange Cassidy's my bestie.
That was one of my complaints, that she wasn't present.
Yeah, I at the same time, I really like how she does do things. Like, she's not just there for a visual component of like, look at this cool woman, and she's scary and she holds a briefcase. Like, she does play an important role in the success of the group. And I find her and Mox's relationship really interesting, because he seems to be quite protective over her, and he seems to like look at her like he's like, I feel like the fact when he had the match against Orange Cassidy and she was the one who actually accompanied him, she's definitely held with some kind of prestige.
Yeah.
And I find it so interesting how like all of them have different relationships to each other, and also how there's probably a lot of rivalry and tension, but because Yuta is the weakest one, you don't really focus on that because they're all kind of eyeing out for him. But I imagine that in a really subtle way there's like a bit of tension between her and Pac and her and Claudio, and the only thing that's
Yeah.
keeping them all together is Mox.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
the subtleties of that dynamic's really, really sick. I really like it.
Yeah. I completely agree. And it's like, what are their like motives for being in the group? I reckon they've all probably got different motives, which is interesting.
And I'd just love to hear more from Marine. I'd love to have Willow call out and be like, "Why are you doing this?" But then with Willow, she's only loosely tied to it because she hasn't attacked any women. Unless she's just like, "Oh, the women, they're doing fine, babe. We don't need to attack them. They're slaying the day with it." I don't know. Maybe she just hates men. Also real. Like I don't fucking know, man. But
They
yeah,
could
like I
be
said,
just big fans of the women's division and like, you just keep it up, keep going, leave used to it.
yeah. We'll move on to the next part of the Continental Classic. This was Claudio versus Ricochet. I really liked this match because I thought that Claudio and Ricochet were a good pairing because Claudio massively gave the match substance, and I'm all for flippy shit, and I'm all for Ricochet being with an Osprey or being with a Fletcher, but I think you get a lot out of him when you've got someone that can pump the brakes on the match, and it gave it a really nice pacing.
That's so
And
true.
yeah, and I liked how in this it was a bit more believable than Briscoe, where he was doing things but it felt futile. Similarly to the Orange Cassidy versus Mox match at Full Gear. It was cool, but it was futile, and you knew that as a viewer. But with this, I didn't know. I thought, ooh, Ricochet
Yeah.
could just steal it. And
Yeah.
so that made it interesting.
Yeah, precisely. And as a Claudio fan, I just prepare myself for the worst every time. I don't expect him to win.
I don't think you need to
ever.
anymore. He's been so hot since
Yeah.
the Death Riders, and I mean, some of the stuff, but not only like in ring. The in ring work, he's always been good in ring, right? But he just seems to not give a fuck. Like he looks like he's about to kill his opponent. It's
Yeah, I know.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I wasn't expecting him to win, and like you say, it could have gone either way with this, and that's what, another part of it being really exciting to watch was that unpredictability about it. Yeah, and yeah, it was just a great match, just for all the reasons that you said. I love the idea of the Death Riders having all the belts as well, like commentary sort of hinted to that. Oh, if Claudio wins this, then they'll have all these belts, and that was a very cool concept. And it made me think that, he is actually a viable contender in this. One of the people who you look at and you think, yeah, he's got a chance. Claudio, that is. Because initially I thought Ricochet is probably going to be one of the hottest, and he still probably is. Just because he's lost this match doesn't mean he's not going to be a really hot, potential winner. But this, yeah, gave me a bit more hope. Yeah, it was brilliant. I just wrote Claudio is amazing. Like, so, wow. Lucy thinks Claudio is amazing. Breaking news. What incredible
Lucy hates
insight.
Max Caster and loves Claudio.
What's
What
new?
is this? Who do you think's going to win it overall?
Well, my initial thought was it's going to be like Osprey and Okada in the final. That was my first thought. But I'm doubting that now. And we're literally like 2 matches in and I'm doubting it already just because of the way things have gone so far. I don't know. I still think Shelton Benjamin's got a good chance as well, just because they're obviously really hot right now. But, we'll go with Claudio because why not? Yeah, I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to speak it into existence.
I agree. I think it has a really high chance of either going to the Hurt Syndicate or the Death Riders, because I think as well it all ties in with Okada's the last one standing with a title in the new Elite.
Yeah.
Jack Perry's lost his, so
Oh my God, yeah.
Okada is 100% losing his belt. But
So
I think losing it to a person who is representative of a faction, and it kind of indicates that like there's new powers at play. I feel like it would make quite a lot of sense for it to be Claudio. I think he's been on a hell of a run. He would definitely deserve the title, and the way he can wrestle these matches, I think, yeah, I think, yeah, absolutely. And the Continental title is meant to be defended all over the world, and he would take it all over and defend it.
True.
But I also think I agree with Shelton Benjamin, because I think the Hurt Syndicate needs the title more as a group to prove their legitimacy, because what else are they gonna win? Like, what other titles are free and available that they can snatch up? And the Continental belt as well, like, it's not really got a lot to it, so like you can easily put the belt on one of them and just have it as an accessory, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's not gonna like derail them and their whole storyline with Swerve, Caster, or whatever they're doing, because it's a very contained belt, and they can like start building it up and maybe throwing it around. Maybe Swerve goes after, I don't know, maybe that gives it a bit more legitimacy. But I think like politically it makes more sense if the Death Riders win it, so for me it's like a toss-up between the two.
Oh, I love that, yeah. And them two in the final would be just chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's like a battle between like the two factions, because we haven't had like a lot of what's the word, like crossing of them. They're like passing ships in the night.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of the heels, that fallout from the Full Game main event. We know where Christian stands. We know where the big players in the main event scene stand, but where do the Hurt Syndicate stand?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here for that.
And I want to see them rise up, man. I want the Hurt Syndicate to be at a level where at least the Death Riders are kind of threatened by him, because they know that they're not going to get them on side. Like, I like that idea of having two warring heel factions that all the faces have to like battle off. I really like that. I think that's
and
that's a
that'd
lot
be
of fun.
so fun for the fans as well, because it's like pick your side.
Yeah.
Yeah, would love that. I just want to add as well that in this match when Claudio did the European uppercut, and the way that Ricochet sold it was amazing. And Ian was watching it next to me, and he was like, "Oh my God, like you need to run that back. Can we watch that again?" Like, 'cause it looked so real. It was awesome. And I loved how Claudio won, which was like, well, he basically dropped him balls first on the steel barrier, and then tried to win by a count out, and then got him inside the ring and basically just gave him the biggest lariat ever, and then won. It was so no nonsense. It was like, I'm not
doing his eye roll thing again.
Oh, he's so sassy.
He's like, all right then, come on.
Let's like, come on, you twink. I will end it right now. It's just like, he's not even going to bother setting him up for a finisher or anything like that. It's just like, oh, fucking, I'll whack you, and that's it.
Yeah, it was great. Then we just had a really simple backstage interview with Kyle and Don Callis and Renee. I don't really think there was much to really say about it. They were just doing their thing of, we the best music. Callis. I don't know.
Yeah, there wasn't anything from me either about that.
Then Adam Cole, talk about eye roll. As soon as the Tron comes on now, how did this man make us cry a few weeks ago?
Oh my God, I'm embarrassed.
The switch up go crazy. Maybe that should be a category in our wrestling award thing. Biggest flop.
Yes, definitely. Write that down. I'm writing it down on my notebook.
So I actually did quite enjoy this segment, though, to be fair. I think it had some... I like the ending of it, we'll say. So Adam Cole is calling out MJF, and Kyle O'Reilly comes out. He's like the biggest hater. He says he'll fight Max.
I love Kyle. He's so real. I feel like he's just seeing through Adam's shit. He's like, We've been here before. You fucked it up last time. Everything that you're doing is getting other people hurt. You didn't even protect Roddy like at the last show. I love that for Kyle. No bullshit. He's just like, stop being a dickhead, Adam. He's just telling him how it is. That's a true friend.
The voice of the people. Max interrupts and he says he's more focused on the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royale, which is next week. So, God, another thing going on.
Yeah, what the fuck
And
is
then
this, by the way? Like, what? He just mentioned that and there was no
it's for the
elaboration. I was
Dynamite
like,
thing, isn't it?
what?
It's the Dynamite
Yeah,
Battle Royale.
yeah, I know, but I was like, where's this come
It
from?
was just out of nowhere. It was just like, yeah. But then what killed me was then when he played him out on the fucking keyboard.
Do you
That
think he
killed
was
me
really
off.
playing? Because there's no way he was really
I feel
doing
like he
that.
could do that. He's
I
a very
don't doubt that
majestic
that
man.
is. Yeah, I feel like that's probably one of his many talents, but it didn't seem like he was the one playing the piano. I don't know. I don't
It
believe
was
it.
so funny. It was so stupid.
Yeah, couldn't it?
Like this is meant to be like the feud of the year. Like they've built it up. Like this is years in the making, bro. Like months in the making. All the shit that they did at ALLIN, the devil storyline, and then how have we gotten to the point where this fucker is playing him out? Like it's so shit.
Let
That
me play
is
you
funny.
out.
Like it really got me.
Oh, it's so daft.
It's just daft, yeah.
My main takeaway being, I don't think he was really playing the piano.
Lucy asking the hard-hitting journalist questions here.
This
Was
is
MJF
the
playing the
analysis that you
piano?
guys have subscribed for.
But what was interesting is he's like, yeah, I'm bothered about this battle royale, and then Adam Cole's like, I'm gonna be in it, and then Kyle O'Reilly's like, well, I'm gonna be in it, and then Cole was like looking at him like, fuck off. So there was a bit of nice tension there that they're continuing to build, and yeah, MJF, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing MJF back. Looking forward to seeing him action, and I think it'd be really interesting if he loses it. I'd really like
Yeah.
MJF to lose. He's won it so many years in a row, and it's quite stagnant. What if Adam Cole did win it? Like, what
Oh,
if Kyle O'Reilly won it? Like,
what if like Adam won it and then that was like a heel turn for him and he just was like
and then
turns
he
into
knocks
MJF.
Kyle O'Reilly out with the ring.
Yes, yeah. Well, this is
This is
what
not
I
gonna
think.
happen.
I know it's not. Well, I think they might be like leading to Adam turning on Kyle because maybe I'm just wishful thinking because I love Kyle so much and I think he is the voice of reason in this whole thing. I would quite like it if Adam was just like, "Shut up, Kyle, you little bitch," and hit him.
Yeah. And that's like an exciting freeway as well. Like Roddy, Adam, MJF, like that never was when they put that on the table. But I think Kyle, Adam, and Max would be really, really interesting. There's so many different things, and it's more complex, a
Yeah.
lot more complex. So I'd like to see that.
A little detail as well that I liked about this was when Adam was like, Kyle was like, I'm going to fight Max. Adam was like, no, don't do that. I don't want my friends to fight my battles for me. And Kyle said, this isn't about you. I'm doing it for Roddy. It's like, yeah, humble him. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyle's on fire. So next up we've got the first part of the Women's Cup, which is for Wrestle Dynasty, which holy shit, that show looks amazing. Oh my god, it looks so good. So good. So good.
I am looking up the card right now.
We got Kenny coming back against Gabe Kidd. We've
What?
got the Bucks. Yeah, how can you not know about this? Like, his first match back.
Oh my god.
Yeah, against Gabe Kidd. We've got the Bucks. We've got, I think it's this one, or maybe it's the pay-per-view before. We've got Claudio versus Shota Umino. Yeah, dude, and it's just lit. It's just lit, but
As if Kenny's coming back. I
yeah,
mean, we
I
haven't
can't
talked
believe you
about
didn't
this.
know. No, I thought
I don't
you
know how I've
knew
missed
though.
this. I
I
have
mean, it's
no
kind
idea
of
how
been
I've missed
subtle.
this.
Like they did release they released the video with Tanahashi and Kenny, and then yeah, then there was like a worked interview where he messed up, gave kid's name, and that's kind of led to some beef, and they're
Oh.
gonna have a match, and yeah, I say the books, it's looking real tight.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch this. Zack
Yeah,
Sabre Jr.
a little
and
New
Claudio
Year.
Castagnoli on the card. I'm sold.
Yeah, it's really popping off. Like they're really serving cunt with that one. But yeah, this is a part of it, the Women's Cup. So this was the first, but the thing is about this was like it's such a small bracket spread
Yeah,
over
right.
such a large span of time. It's like I appreciate them trying to do something for it and to like build a stake, but it's like really.
Especially
I
compared
d
to the Continental Classic.
Yeah, then I see Serena Deeb and I just think, oh God. But luckily this wasn't. This was Aminata versus Hater, and they both looked amazing. They both
Yes.
did a really really great job. I thought Hater looked, I would dare I say, the best she's looked since coming back. I thought Aminata really brought out the best in her.
Yeah, me
It was
too.
hard hitting, and I
Yeah,
liked
I felt the
how
same.
towards the end it was just back to back pins.
Yeah.
I really like
And
that
it
a
could
lot. Like they
could have
just want to
ended
pick
at
up the
any
win.
point.
Yeah.
And they're both so powerful as well. It was so brutal. Yeah, I thought this was a really brilliant match. I really enjoyed it. They were both. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've already said what I was going to say. And you said as well. It's so hard hitting, so strong. It flowed really well. They clearly had really good chemistry. It had quite a solid amount of time. Yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah. And even though Hater won, I thought Aminata looks amazing. And
Yeah,
do you know what? I'm won over. I like her a
same.
lot. The Aminata experiment of bringing her over to Dynamite, yeah,
It's worked.
solid. She's a great wrestler and she's really won me over by her wrestling. I think she has like some semblance of a character. She's not generic.
Hmm.
She's cool. She's cool as fuck. And I think it's so good how these matches that she's had on Dynamite, yeah, she hasn't won them, but she's won my heart. She's won
Yeah,
my heart for
that's the
sure.
most
She is
important
class.
thing. Estelle's heart. You don't need
Yeah,
to win championship belts.
that's the
You
new
can win Estelle's
tournament. Can you
heart.
win my heart? Max Caster, don't think that's happening, babe. Serena Deeb, don't think you're making it past the first round. But the ending as well had a little bit more because we had the lights out, the lone spotlight, and the teasing of Julia Hart. Cool, cool
Yeah, I
stuff.
mean,
Thumbs up from me.
I thought we'd get something. It was very, very teasing. Like, oh, give us nothing.
Ooh. Give us everything, but give us nothing. I don't mind though, because like I thought I was quite like the match was quite a whirlwind, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah,
I felt if
yeah,
Julia
it
Hart
didn't
hadn't
need
come, like
extra thing.
it might have overshadowed it.
Yeah,
I'm sure it did for some people anyway, but for me it was just nice enough.
yeah. No, agreed. I don't have a problem with it.
Then we had Mina Shirakawa being interviewed backstage with Renee. She's in her JR era doing the sit down interviews. Mina says she knew that, not Tony, she knew that Mariah would come after her because she did so for Tony, so that's why she was prepared to duck. But she wasn't prepared during this interview because Mariah comes behind and knocks her out with the glass bottle, and I audibly
Yeah, same,
I audibly gasped. I went,
same.
oh! I was shocked, honey. I was shocked. I was clutching my
Literally.
pearls. I was like, oh, no way! Like that was brutal. Like, how
Yeah,
does Mariah manage to make things look so fucking real? Like, there's just
yeah.
something about the way she delivers spots that I've just never seen anyone do.
She's so mean. You just look at her. She
Bitch.
just there's just meanness behind everything she does. There's nothing behind it other than she just wants to be a horrible, nasty person. I think that's what it is. There's like something about her face and like her eyes. It's just a big meanie.
But like even after when she's like, I want Mina, and she's striking her down with the belt. Just even before, like it's like timing. The timing is impeccable. The way she hit that glass and the way it hit and just and instantly on her, that you can't teach that. Like that's
so
something. That's something else, and it just I just can't get over it. Like that always be burnt into my mind. The heel and then digging her nails into it. Like that's the type of shit that on my deathbed is gonna haunt me.
Yeah, when your life flashes before your eyes, that's going to be one of the things.
Definitely, along with a bunch of other random
Wrestling
things.
shit.
It'll be like Daniel Bryan getting married to AJ Lee, and me posting on my Facebook that congratulations to the couple.
How old were you when that happened? Like 10?
10,
11?
yeah, 10, 11. Scott Steiner math. Suffering Succotash, the welcoming committee.
That is such a random one, by the way. Like the welcoming committee. What?
Yeah, but it's like it's about Roman Empire or Pin Up Strong. I used to be terrified of that. I used to be really, really scared. Awesome Kong when she used to come out, that used to shit me up.
Yeah, same.
Triple H with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Home
we should
invasion.
do this. This should be like a category or like a segment on our Christmas special. Just shit that fucked us up as a kid. Wrestling shit. Not live shit, God, that'd be too long. Too deep.
Right, yeah. So they're going to fight at Winter is Coming. So what do you think about that? Do you think that's too soon? It's only a TV special. It's not a pay-per-view. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off. Why can't it be at World's End? Why not? Like, why is this women's championship belt not being defended at pay-per-views?
Yeah, I'm just kind of hoping that we get sort of like a tease and maybe Tony comes back.
Build something bigger.
Yeah, but I don't want Tony to come back and then the next part to be Tony winning the melt. Fuck me.
Winning the melt.
The Subway melt. I can't.
The Subway chicken and bacon ranch melt.
It's been a long day. I don't want Tony to come back and win the belt. I hope that Mina gets a longer program with Mariah is my point.
Yeah.
Because
Agreed.
I think there's longevity there and I think they could do a lot of stuff. And Mina's a great wrestler and really entertaining. So I guess it has to end in no contest or some... I'm like cautiously pissed because I have at least some hope that we are going to get a World's End match.
Yeah.
What about, I was just going to say, what about if we get like Tony Storm, special referee? Or what if we get Tony versus Mariah and she's special ref? I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
I
won
don't,
me over. I hope.
I don't know. As long as they sprinkle some extra shit on top, it'll be fine.
As long as it's not the end, it's not the full stop, then cool, fine.
Yeah, like Osprey versus MJF, although that was way worse because that was like an hour long. And that really was like... I mean, by the end of it, it was good because we were like, oh, we got 2 good wrestling matches. So why were we complaining? But that was
the gift of hindsight.
So now we've got the main event and this was just bizarre to me. This was bloody bizarre. I'm hoping you can help me make some sense of this bullshit because what the hell?
No offense to either man involved, but why is this the main event? Why is Brody King versus Darby Allin main event?
They built it up right. Because they built it up like, and it was cool at the start. Like, Darby's got his number, he's beat him twice in 2 very brutal matches. So you expect that this is going to be the same, not a 10-minute long match in which Brody King just annihilates Darby, just eviscerates him. It was bizarre. It was absolutely bizarre. And then for that to be the main event on top, like, fair enough if you want to have a shitty, weird, freaky, nonsensical match, fair enough, but to make it be the main event and it ended so curtly, like, they just ran out of time, they're like, shit, go for the pin. That paired with the audio issues because of Brody taking out the live feed from the Cannonball, it was a mess. It was a hot mess.
I mean,
that was great, but it was a mess.
I think I think I found it entertaining because it was a mess. Like that moment where he did the cannonball and he just broke the camera and the audio. That was just brilliant. That was so funny. Um, I think I was definitely caught off guard with the with Brody King winning. Didn't expect that at all, but I think in hindsight, are they trying to sell the fact that you know, Darby Allin literally crashed his car on purpose at full gear and was like bleeding out everywhere. Try to commit vehicular homicide in the words of Nigel McGuinness. I guess that was what they were playing on because he was all bandaged up, wasn't he? Like, oh, he's all busted up from that, and Brody
I
King's
loved
really
when Nigel
big.
popped off about football.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, you tell him.
so true. He's representing
He is.
representing us.
But that's a great point. But I don't know. Maybe I would have got that more if the commentary actually worked. But
Yeah,
I still think it was really, really short, and it's so bizarre to me. You're pushing Darby as this like he's fucking mint Darby. He's the top dog. He's gonna take over Mox, and then you have that match with him like a month ago where he overcomes all the odds, and I'm like, I'm sorry, this time he had way less odds to overcome.
yeah,
What like the steel steps were on him and he was being walked over. Like, yeah, he was fucked around a bit, but he was nowhere near ragdoll to the extent that I've seen. And that's the crux of the Darby Allin character and why sometimes I'm a bit critical of him is because if you're doing all this all the time and your character can withstand it and you can withstand injury on a random Wednesday night, well, when I'm watching something like this, it just doesn't work because I'm so used to seeing your character. What you're Darby Allin. You get hit by a bus and you get back up.
yeah.
You get hung upside down and someone kicks your nose in with thumbtacks on the shoe. Like you Darby motherfucking Allin. You don't go out by a random ass submission. And the Gonzo Bob, like I just couldn't believe it. I was
Yeah.
flabbergasted. I was shocked. I was shooketh.
Your timbers were shivered.
My timbers were shivered.
Yeah, that's such. That's makes complete sense because yeah, like he's this daredevil. He always fights back. He can withstand all the damage, but no, Brody King was too much. Very
Unless it's
unexpected.
like Yeah, unless it's like their whole thing of like you're saying the busing, driving the car and like being fucked up from the past few weeks, and it's like all that spiel,
Mm,
and like I like me and you both said he needs to kind of maybe rethink his in ring style because it's not going to work to go against Mox, but. I don't know. I don't think it will be. I think this was just a throwaway and it was just for the tournament. But
yeah, this was quite jarring.
I
Definitely.
just think, okay, if you wanted this to be the finish, you need to make it longer. You need to make Darby get beat the fuck up for half an hour or so
Yeah, and he keeps
to
coming back,
make it,
but he can't. Yeah, it just gets to the point where he can't
yeah,
get up anymore.
not like a squash match.
Mm,
Terrible, absolutely terrible. And then he faced off with Claudio, which was cool. Like that's awesome and all, but yeah,
it
that was
wasn't
that
enough.
really.
Yeah.
That were bloody that were Dynamite. So that's why I'm feeling a bit. I feel like now I've broken it down.
Hmm.
Like I'm DX. I've broken it down. I've talked it out, and I still stick with my original thoughts of just. It was just mid, and after talking about that main event, I'm just pissed.
Yeah,
Just pissed.
it's left you on a sour note.
Yeah.
It's like what you were saying in your full gear review. It's like that the main event makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Headliners make all the difference.
Yeah. Really, really do.
So
That was
what's
shite.
so what's your rating then?
A 6.
Oh, that's a bit harsh. That
It's
feels
justifiable.
really harsh.
What right? What makes? Let's not talk about the shit. What makes it deserve a high rating? What was so good
Um,
about this show?
okay. Shelton Benjamin versus Matt Briscoe was fine. Okay, that wasn't a good example. That wasn't a good example.
That can give like 3 contributing points. That's like 50% of the rating.
That wasn't a good example. Claudio versus Ricochet.
Yeah, that gives it the other 3.
So Kyle O'Reilly. Jamie Hayter versus Queen Aminata.
That can have 2.5 each. Oh, true. Yeah, but those are like little scrappy segments, though. 6.5. A 7 at a push. 7's the highest I can go for this.
Yeah, I'm meeting in the middle at 6.5.
I'll happily do a 7.
Feels high, I think.
Any higher than a 7 for that disgusting main event, you're having a laugh. And again, this was formulaic. It was following that whole thing of, this is what pissed me off again, was the heel dominating and then just winning anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. That's why I think that 7 just feels... Even though I said immediately 6 is too harsh, 7 just feels too high.
Because it's because we've been ranking them high and then you go for a low one or you go from a low to a high one and it feels drastic, but... And I'd love to as well. I don't know whether we'd be able to because I know we've got the rankings, but I'd love to... If we could see what we're ranking the go-home shows and what we're ranking the first Dynamite after the pay-per-view, and I'd love to know what the median is of each one, because I feel like consistently we rank the ones after the pay-per-view low. Stats,
I do think there's a correlation there. I'm sure I can make a graph out of that with the data I've got.
Oh, a graph, a pie chart.
Spreadsheets.
Oh, the possibilities are endless. The Christmas stats special.
The Christmas special, you guys, you gotta just prepare your ass because it's gonna be good.
Well, talking about that, we've had an idea that we want to have outward contributions towards it as well. So we're not sure when we're going to put it out. It will be within ample time, probably at least 2 weeks before, I'd hope. But having like a Google poll go out and people put in their thoughts in, because we're going to have categories, so it'd be nice to hear what other people think, like what was your favourite pay-per-view of the year, favourite match, and things like that. So I think that's... So get thinking. Get thinking.
Yes. Yeah, we need categories and...
democracy.
Yeah, we need nominations and we need
all the
buzzwords. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was Dynamite. Did you want to touch on any of the news this week?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to talk about is Eddie Kingston. He's predicted to be back by June 2025, which is a bit of a bummer. Yeah. So feel better soon, Eddie. The other thing was 2 other things. The second thing we'll go into is the Australian Grand Slam. They have had to reduce down the venue.
Oh no!
From 52k to about 13k.
Shit! Why?
Because they're not selling the tickets. But it's more than what you think, because it's not just because, you know, there isn't really as much of a market in Australia, and it was very ambitious to go for 52k when, like, that's about what they did this year in Wembley, and like that's a lot. Like, yeah, but also you got to think London, central location, Europe. You've got people. It's very easily accessible. Yes. Us from up north, the amount of people that came from mainland Europe,
yeah.
Transport links and all that, but where it was originally, God, I cannot think of the city. Brisbane. It was in Brisbane, and a lot of the Australians online were saying, why would they not pick Sydney? Why would they not pick Melbourne? Like, Brisbane, it's I'm not as familiar with Australian geography, but allegedly it's very out there. It's expensive, and even people who are like quite diehard AEW fans are just like, it's just the logistics aren't there, and again the advertising. So not that I think had they have put it in fucking wherever, Perth, I don't know, Sydney or wherever's a big city. Not that I think they would have done 52 and filled capacity. I don't. WWE didn't even hit capacity with Elimination Chamber. And that's not a dunk. Like, it's amazing that they can even run a large-sized event in a place like Australia, especially for a secondary wrestling company. That's huge. But I still don't think they would have hit that. But yeah, that's the reason as to why they've reduced capacity. But now it's like they've kind of booked themselves into a corner, because no matter what they sell, even if they sold out the 12.5k 13k venue, people online, as you can imagine, are always going to be like, well, they didn't sell the 52k, and it's a bit shit because they've shot themselves in the foot with being ambitious. So
yeah, but it is what it is. People are gonna try. People would have chatted shit even if they did run the 50k venue. So what can you do?
yeah, it just was a bit,
It is
just a bit
disappointing.
overly ambitious. But it's difficult because I suppose, where do you draw the line? Because people would have laughing when Tony Khan said he wanted to do Wembley the first year, and that was like 80k.
That is so true.
And no one thought they were even going to hit half of that, never mind the number that they did. So it's difficult, because being ambitious is like a businessman. It can really pay off, and sometimes you've got to do that, and sometimes like this, you take the L, but it's not an L. It's not an L. It's fine. But it's just about being realistic, because I think not only AEW, WWE just needs to be a bit realistic about, wrestling's in a boom period, but I think it's very easy to overestimate and think, oh my god, wrestling's in a boom period, and all you need to do is just book it and the people will be there, and that's not how it works. And I think with WWE it's less so much that, but less so much like too large venues, but the pricing of tickets, because it's like people will pay, but you assume that, but people won't pay. they don't pay, and so that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I haven't really got anything to add.
So the third thing is Ricky Starks, very contentious.
Yeah, like, can you explain this in a way that would make sense? Like, I'm a 10-year-old, because I'm like, chronically online wrestling fans just tweet vague shit about it, and I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's my understanding that Ricky Starks, he is under contract for AEW, and he will be until spring or summer of 2025. And he's just been off TV, and he's been very cryptic about it. And he's also been seen backstage at WWE events. However, like, AEW will know about that, as WWE will know about when Rhea Ripley came over. I believe it was Double or Nothing or around that time. Like, they're aware that their contracted talent are going to other events. In other companies. He's got a lot of close friends, Punk, Jade Cargill, Cody. He's got a lot of close ties. But yeah, he's not really been used, especially since, to my memory, when they had the promo in the ring with Edge. And that's really, I think, that was like the beginning. I mean, he was already on the beginning and the end, but this was really where it set it off. And to me, it seems like, the way I read it, right, he knows he's going to WWE. Everyone knows he's going to WWE. Tony Khan knows he's going to WWE. And because of that, Tony doesn't want to use him creatively. He's been burnt a few times by pushing people. And at the start, he didn't want to turn into the person he's turned into, which is with the Lucha Bro situation. He didn't release, I believe it was Penta. I can't remember if it was Penta or Rey Fenix, but I believe it's Penta. But Rey Fenix's contract's already ended, and he's signed with WWE, I believe. But he won't release Penta until his contract's run up. So for a long time, there's a WWE technique of, you're not going to release the talent until the contract's up, and even after that, they've got the 90-day post-contract where they're not allowed to work in other places, and it's basically just cock blocking them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are pointing out the hypocrisy of that, that Tony Khan is essentially doing things that WWE did for a long time that people would be criticised for. But I think in the case of Ricky Starks, it's quite sad because he's very young and he's been very, very vocal online. People have asked him and been like, why? And this has been going on for a hell of a long time, like 6 months or whatever. Well, why are you not on TV? And he's like, I don't know. I'm healthy. I can wrestle. I want to wrestle, but I'm just not.
Yeah.
And so people have read into that. Like I say, I think he wants to wrestle at AEW, but I think he is going to go to WWE, and I think Tony Khan just thinks no. I think, especially with how cutthroat business has become, he just thinks no, I'm not going to. And even though it is a dick move, it's just business. But it's hard because I can understand from a wrestler perspective how frustrating that would be. And I think maybe if Tony Khan would have handled this differently and actually given Ricky Starks good creative, he probably would have weighed it up a bit more and maybe even chosen AEW because he's invested a lot of time and he built up a connection with the fans. Not that I think that connection's gone, but I think AEW surpassed him now in that if he came back, he'd have to get back on the ladder at Ring 1 and move back up because a lot of people have come and joined and like there's not as many spaces open at the top as there was. But I don't know the lad, but I feel like hand on heart, like I think he would have wanted to make it work, but it's just the way that the dice have rolled and like politics in it. He's aligned himself with a lot of people that have fucked over Tony Khan. It's that distrust.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then recently he was back in the news because he was at GCW and he was talking about the situation. But again, like that would have had to have been approved by Tony Khan. So he's there at GCW and he's like talking about his displeasure and stuff, and Matt Cardona's like beefing with him in shoot. Well, not in shoot. I think it's work. But it's just like Tony Khan would have to approve that, but I don't know. But people, like, as you can imagine, this really, all the Fed marks and the diehards who absolutely hate AEW, this is just like the perfect ammunition for them because you know, they see Ricky Starks as a martyr, just as they see Ethan Page as a martyr, just as CJ Cargill as a martyr. And when these people go over there, he will be incredibly over. But it's not even from the sincerity. And again, I don't give a fuck because I just want him to be over. I want him to wrestle, and I'm glad that people support him. But
Yeah.
I just think sometimes, especially with people like Ethan Page, not so much Ricky Starks. I think Ricky Starks is genuine fucking talent. And he deserves everything in Jay Cargill. But the Ethan Page and the Lexi King situation just pisses me off because I just think, you know, these people are not future WWE World Champions, but you only support them to vindicate against AEW because you're like, well, look at them, they're so good here, like they're so much better here. And again, it's so hard because I'm happy for them to get their success, but I look at those people and I think, are you actually being sincere when you fake the support of these people? And in 5 years' time, I would love to see where Ethan Page is on the card and how many people are outraged about it. Because I just think it's all bullshit. I just think it's all bullshit, like bullshit support. But again, I'm happy the man's getting support. Like, I don't want him to not be supported.
Yeah,
I want
I know.
him to thrive. It's nuanced opinions, right? But yeah, with the Ricky Starks thing, sorry I've ranted, but I think it's just he wants to go to WWE, and Tony Khan's just like no, and Tony Khan's just not in his people pleaser era. But I see both sides. So yeah.
Have you heard about the drama with GCW?
Yeah.
So Ricky Starks been pulled from their shows recently, sort of out of the blue, by AEW, and apparently people think it's because Effie, who I think owns GCW, has basically been slagging off Tony Khan in an interview recently, and basically said because they're running the Hammerstein Ballroom like 2 weeks after GCW, and apparently they're not allowed to do that. So Effie's been slagging him off and then took a shot at Tony Khan's dad. And then people have put two and two together, and I think that's why Ricky Starks has been pulled from these GCW shows.
I'd heard of some of it, but I didn't know about like he's insulting his dad and
Well,
stuff. And
okay, so the quote was, I don't know who he's talking about, but I think he's talking about like the owner or promoter of GCW basically said he doesn't own a football team, he doesn't have a dad who pays him to stay away. So it's not like taking personal shots at his dad, but it is obviously like like a shot at Tony.
Yeah,
But this is the way
that
people were framing it on social media, like, well, Tony's got every right to be pissed off because he was slagging off his dad. And looking
I
at this
don't know
quote, I'm
because
just like, it's not that deep, I don't think. But
there's always been like if you run a show at a venue, the larger company gets precedence over it. Like they get priority over the venue and they can stop it from running.
so it's not. So both shows are still going ahead, but it's sort of. I think it's sort of like common courtesy thing that you don't run the same venue as another company like within that close a time frame, and uh, they were Effie's annoyed about it.
But what about WWE coming over here and running WrestleMania within the time frame of freaking All In, and then it's had to have a venue change? Because in that case, it's like they literally can stop it because I guess it's different. I guess it's different because of the size. But to that, I just say that's just business, baby. And sometimes business isn't courteous.
I agree. I mean, there's stuff like this in the even just in the British indie scene where people are like, "Oh well, we run shows in insert city here, so you can't run shows in this city." And with indies though, it makes a bit more sense because it's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
if I take Markham for example, you wouldn't want to run two wrestling shows like one week after another in Markham because people wouldn't buy a ticket for 2 weeks in a row. It doesn't make any business sense and it's just stupid. That makes more sense to maybe be annoyed about a situation like that. But like in this, it seems a bit nonsensical to me. I feel like they're both popular promotions. It's a small venue. What?
Yeah, I think that, and then tying it in with the Ricky Starks thing, my overall views are it is just business, and like I do feel really bad for him, and I do feel bad for obviously this company to an extent. Like GCW, especially, like, used to be on fire, and
Yeah.
AEW has succeeded through the monopolization and through it's done a lot of damage to the indie scene, to GCW, to New Japan. It has, but that it's like WWE, like with the territories. That's just business, and business requires growth. I'm sorry, like it's just how it goes, and
It's capitalism manifest.
it's capitalism. It's capitalism manifested. Wrestling's always been like that, though, and yeah, I think it sucks for Ricky Starks, but at the same time, I'm
Yeah, I
of the
feel sorry
mindset
for
of
him.
like, it sucks that he needs to be made an example of, but there comes a point where like you've got to put your foot down, I guess. But then I guess like him holding Ricky Starks back, I guess the publicity he's getting is just negative anyway, so you might as well just let him go. But then from a talent standpoint, it's not so much about publicity, but because from a talent standpoint, it's going to make people, I think, a little bit more maybe about how openly they're associating with the enemy, I say in quotation marks, before their contract is up. Especially with like how trying times are right now for AEW and WWE, I think it just makes sense as to why he's doing it. Like it sucks, but it's just the nature of the beast, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's maybe a bit unfair for them to pull him out of his appearances at GCW. Like, why not let him wrestle there?
Yeah, that part. But again, like that's
Again,
it's all just speculation, isn't it? Like
yeah, no one
we
really
don't
knows.
know like all the
Exactly.
we don't know like all the ins and outs. All we can do is like assess based on like the information, because
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks for helping me make sense of it because people were being so cryptic and taking sides, and it's obviously like biased information that people choose to believe because it just fits their own agenda of which company they like and which company they don't like.
It's
Yeah.
such a shame though, because I love Ricky Starks, and I've always thought like I've always wanted him to do more, and it seemed like he was like teetering on greatness, like with the tag team Big Bill, and their synergy was amazing. And it seemed like when they broke up, like there was going to be big things for him, and he's just pissed off one too many people. Like Adam Copeland, man, he really got to him when he called him bug-eyed, man. That really just like hit a nerve. And you've got to think stuff like that, like, yeah, it's just throwaway shit, but I'm not saying Adam Copeland is the reason, right, this is all happening, but like all little things add up. Do you know what I mean? Like he probably has influence, and if he ain't happy, bro. I don't know. You just don't know what's popping off, do you? You just don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're always going to get just half of the story. So,
but it's such a shame that like he's such a talent, and he has a lot of fans and in AEW, and I think as a lot of Ricky Stark's fans who are AEW fans, we all know that he's better for WWE, and like it's shit because like we all want him with us, but like yeah, it just didn't. It just ain't the vibe. So. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, I don't really have anything to add to what you said. Was that all the news from this week?
I think so, unless you know something I don't know.
No. No, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Dynamite was a 6.5. That's what we settled on. But
yeah, we had a lot to talk about actually.
But
I think also that's just like it's so nice doing it with someone after doing it alone.
Yeah, it's
like a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, it is. It's much easier and more fun. So yeah, please subscribe and or follow us if you listen on Spotify if you haven't already, and we really do appreciate everything, all the support. Leave us a rating and a like. And even a comment if you want. Let's have a discussion in the comment section. We love hearing your opinions, and we want to hear more of them in our poll that we're going to put out. But you'll know about that when we put it out. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week with another Dynamite review.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, you rock, and good night, bang!
I wish you died in the womb!